Audio Jungle.
It is with a heavy heart, Mr. President, that I wish to announce the unfortunate incidents of tanker fire that happened in Majia town in Toro local government of Jigawa Northwest. The Senate is to note that on the night of 15th October, yesterday, a tanker fully loaded with petroleum motor spirit, PMS, called Petrol, exploded along Hadeja Expressway in Majia town, located in Toro local government of Jigawa state, which is about 117 kilometers northeast of Dusi, the state capital. Also notes that this catastrophic inferno occurred around 10 p.m. when the residents of the area trooped out en masse to the accident scene to scoop fuel from the ill-fated tanker. And while this was on, the tanker exploded, resulting in massive fire which was quite difficult to control by the available facilities in the area. Further notes that the explosion resulted in the death of about 100 people, whose bodies were burnt beyond recognition, leaving about 300 people with varying degrees of burns and are currently receiving treatments in Birnin Kudu Federal Medical Center, General Hospital Rengim, General Hospital Hadeja, and Jahun General Hospital. Observe that this is one incident too many, and it is often accompanied with unprecedented casualties, often difficult for medical facilities within the precincts of the disaster. This development is rather unfortunate, as it keeps happening over and over again, in spite of fatalities that is often associated with the inferno. Also observe that public enlightenment and sensitization on the dangers of indulging in the dangerous act of scooping fuel from tankers whenever there is a tanker accident should be encouraged as part of measures to forestall the occurrence of these unfortunate incidents. Accordingly, resolved to 1. Call on the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management and the National Emergency Management Agency to provide immediate relief materials to the victims of the inferno. Also calls on the National Orientation Agency and other relevant authorities to carry out adequate sensitization on the dangers of involvement in such hazardous practices. Also calls on all security agencies to be proactive in their actions whenever there is such occurrence across the country. Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, distinguished colleagues.
Yes, good people of the Benue South Senatorial District. Mr. President, I rise to second this motion and, by your indulgence, to make a few comments on the issue at hand. Mr. President, this is a very tragic occurrence, and there is absolute need for us to encourage the industry to take proactive measures, especially in the area of awareness and sensitization, to prevent future occurrence. Mr. President, one life matters. And when it occurs like this, and the speculation is that over 90 persons have died, certainly it calls for some concern. I therefore urge my colleagues to support this motion and to say that, Mr. President, I think the major problem in this area is the area of lack of awareness and, of course, resulting from lack of sensitization. Our people mostly are in rural areas and they are not aware of the danger of approaching tankers that are falling and the danger of scooping fuel from these tankers. And that is why, in partial ignorance, they engage in this activity that leads to loss of lives. Finally, Mr. President, I want to say that the Senate should take this matter of providing succor for those who have been affected with all seriousness. Mr. President, it's unfortunate that sometimes delivery of relief materials from NEMA has taken longer than necessary. And sometimes even the succor that it is supposed to provide will be outdated and sometimes unneeded by the people. I therefore ask that we approve the prayers that have been moved by our colleagues here, and that succor must immediately be dispatched to the affected people and community. I so second, Mr. President.
This probably was not very, Senator Babangida, there was a lot of slight commotion while you were moving the motion. So let me just read the first two paragraphs so that my colleagues can understand what is going on. That in the night of 15th October 2024, which was yesterday, a tanker fully loaded with PMS, popularly called petrol, exploded along the Hadija Expressway in Maja town, located in Taura local government area of Jigawa State, about 117 kilometers northeast of Duse. The catastrophic inferno occurred about 10 p.m. when the residents of the area trooped out en masse to the accident scene to scoop fuel from the ill-fated tanker. So while they were scooping fuel from the ill-fated tanker that collapsed, the tanker exploded. So this means that the residents were scooping the fuel at the time this happened. This has happened in Lagos, it has happened in Ikeja, it has happened in my community in Akwa Ibom State before, and a lot of the burns were first-class burns. So here, over 100 people have been burned to death. Our prayer would just be that those who have died, we should observe a minute silence for them, and we should go ahead to call on NEMA and others to provide relief materials for those who are still in hospitals, and particularly the state government to assist in medical expenses to save more lives. I don't think we need too much debate, but the prayers will have to be more loaded. If you permit, we go straight into the prayers. Is it the view of the Senate that we proceed to the prayers? Prayer 1, call on the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management and the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to provide relief materials, yes, to the victims of the inferno, that is the survivors. Those in support of prayer 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2, call on the National Orientation Agency and other relevant authorities to carry out adequate sensitization on the dangers of involved in these hazardous practices. Those in support of prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Call on all security agencies to be proactive in their actions whenever there is such occurrence across the country. Those in support of prayer 3 say aye. Those against say nay. Well, the ayes have it. Actually, is there any additional prayer? Yes, Senator Abamoro. Then after Senator Ndubwese.
Mr. President,
and seconded that we do observe a minute silence in honor of those who fell victims of this inferno in Jigawa. Those in support of the additional prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So let me thank distinguished Senator Babangida for bringing this to the fore, and pray that God will grant solace to the families of those who lost their loved ones, and then of course Ajana Fidar to those who have departed. And I want to also pray that those in hospitals will also survive. However, I think we should also call on the state government to take proactive steps to save more lives. But may we rise for 1 minute silence in their honor. Our brothers and sisters who died in the tanker explosion in Major, Taura, local government of Jigawa State, rest in perfect peace. Sergeant at Arms, please take steps to move out that phone.
Audio Jungle.